Hello friends, welcome to Idle Coaching, and this is part 3 of Macroeconomics Classical versus Keynes Theory in English. The note is saying it is an episodic explanation, so to get benefit you have to see the videos from part 1. Let's start. Now the topic is Keynes' criticism of classical theory. Prior to this I have explained all the assumptions of classical theory. Now would be criticizing all those assumptions according to Keynes. The very first criticism is he rejected the normal automatic full employment classical assumption. What does this mean? Actually, full employment is a normal situation being said by the classical economists. But Keynes says that it is not a normal situation. By chance, by luck, or at any instant, a special chance is that there could be a full employment, but normally there will not be full employment. Means according to classical theory the normal situation was of full employment, but according to Keynes says that it is a special situation, and it is true also, because nowadays also the what Keynes is saying that underemployment is a normal situation. Underemployment is a normal situation, but a special situation is the full employment. Normally, we are also living in this society where we are not being employed, being able and willing, but still we are not getting employment. That means underemployment is a normal situation, but full employment is a special situation. Keynes have highlighted this. Secondly, he said that he refuted the Say's law of market with the help of his theory of effective demand. There is a theory of effective demand, as I said earlier also, that Keynes have not only criticized the classical theory but also gave his effective demand theory. We'll be discussing later on. But in that he has refuted the Say's law of market. According to Say, what Say has said that there are factor of productions. Means there are land, there are labor, there are machines, and for that you have to give rent, wages and maintenance. And with that wages, labor runs towards market, and then market has in market products are being sold, labor purchases those products and money is being made. That was the saying of Say law, that was being said by Say law. But Keynes have refuted this. He said no, when laborers get wages they will not purchase everything with that money. They will try to save also. Means saving is also an option, and when they are saving, that money is being saved and being not received by the producer, and so unemployment can exist, and it exists. Means when savings is there, what will happen? That money is not being invested, and if the money is being not invested, that means there will be a deficiency in demand, aggregate demand, because people are not willing to purchase anything, or they are less willing. Means the deficiency in demand is there. The aggregative demand will be lower because they are saving their money, they are not investing. So when demand goes low, then there is a chance of overproduction, because people are not purchasing the products, so the production is now overproduction. Means products are in abundance, they are being supplied in abundance, but there is no demand as such. So at the condition of overproduction, the production houses will not be willing to produce more. That means they will not be hiring much or other factors such as labor, and so there will be no employment or a situation of unemployment. Okay. The next criticism by Keynes was no automatic working of price mechanism. Means, as being said by classical economists that there is a automatic working of supply and demand and price mechanism is not true according to Keynes, because if there is an automaticity in the economy,
what will happen? At that time, people who are rich or who are the big fishes in the market, they will try to influence the price. If a person or a company is rich, they will lower the price of the commodity and they will sell more comparing to those people who are small fish or are small investors or are small company holders. Then their product will not be sold because they are not in position to sell at cheaper prices. So what will happen? Their production will be categorized as overproduction and they will not be able to hire more people and the condition of unemployment can come. So Keynes has criticized this. He said no, there is no automatic working of price mechanism, because if such happens, the richer will get more and more richer and the poor will get more and more poorer. And that was the main reason why inflation came, because you left that economy to itself, following the rule of laissez-faire. What then happened? The richer got the power and the poor lost the power, and the inflation condition came, which was the reason to the failure of classical theory, and then this kind of criticism arose. After this, Keynes has also highlighted a special point which was being said by classical theory. Investment is equated to saving by changes in income. Actually, what was the classical theory's approach? That whatsoever be the investment, they are being equated to saving by rate of interest. As I have explained in part 1, that what they use is rate of interest. They influence the investment and saving with the help of rate of interest. If they increase the rate of interest, then people will try to save. But if they are decreasing the rate of interest, then people will try to invest. And if you want people to invest, then you will lower the rate of interest. But Keynes have denied this. Keynes had said no, rate of interest are not the base to make people investment. What he said, that the level of income is the thing which will decide the investment plans of people. Means there are two things. Savings will depend on level of income and not on rate of interest, what being said by classical theorists, and Keynes has denied this. How? I will be telling this to you. Suppose rate of interest is lowered, or suppose there is a for example, government has given you loan of 25 lakh or $25 million and said that this loan will be charging the rate of interest by 15%. So you said, okay, I want to open a industry and this money is okay for me. But government has said that if you open this money in remote areas or in rural areas, then I will be, or government will be availing you this $25 million for only 5% rate of interest. Means the rate of interest is now lowered. He said, okay, that is a good opportunity, but will I get profit in village, in that rural area? No. So that $25 million are of no use, because they will not be fetching the profit which I want. So after lowering the rate of interest also, people are not interested to invest. So if they are not interested to invest, then what will happen? There will be a deficiency in aggregate demand, which will result in overproduction and which will directly result in unemployment. Okay? The fifth assumption which was being criticized by Keynes was inadequate analysis of demand for money. He argued that classical economists haven't analyzed the demand for money correctly. They have done it incorrectly or inadequately. First of all, let us understand the demand of money. What type of demand are there when we consider money? Demand for money can be of two types according to classical, and one type is according to Keynes. Total there are three types: transactional purpose, precautionary purpose, and speculative purpose. What are these? Actually, transaction purpose, we all know that money is being used for give and take or selling and buying of the products. That is transaction purpose. The precautionary purpose is that purpose where we want to keep some money for some precautions, some disease or some illness if it happens. So we have some kind of insecure feeling that we should keep some money for as a precaution money. And the third one is speculative purpose. And this is a purpose which is not known to us, and we keep this money for some future incident or some as such incident which we are very scared of. For example, we want to keep money for our old age, for our illness or long-term illness, or some kind of, if there is a war or any kind of situation of inflation. At that time, what will happen? People, all of them keep this money for their future. Not only for their future, they keep this money for their children's, for their marriages, for their many other things, for business. So that is speculative purpose. The fault here is the classical economists have only highlighted these two things: transitory purpose and precautionary purpose. Classical approach have argued that there are only two purposes, transitory and precautionary. There is no as such speculative purpose. But Keynes has said that if you are keeping money for transaction purpose, to buy or to sell something, then it is a limited money. For precautions also, people keep limited money. So if you are going to lower the rate of interest also, people are not going to invest money. Why? Because they want to keep that money for speculative purpose. Means at the time you are lowering the rates of interest, still people are not interested in investing for transaction purpose or keeping it for precautionary purpose, because here the money which is being used is very less as compared to the money which is being kept for this speculative purpose. Not only for this we keep for our own, but also for our relatives, for our son, for daughters, and also for many births of their ancestors also. So Keynes has given emphasis to speculative purpose, and because of this, people used to keep more and more money with them. Actually, what happens when the rate of interest is being lowered? What will happen? People will invest more according to classical theory. But Keynes have denied this. Keynes said that at the time when you are reducing the rate of interest, people will try to keep more and more money with them because they are very scared, or they are having the fear of future which is unknown to them. Anything can happen in future, and for that anything we keep money with them, with yourself, that this should be there and we can cope up with all the situation in future. And because of this, money gets trapped, and this is known as liquidity trap. Means government is lowering the rate of interest and giving money to people, but people are not investing those money, and that money is being trapped according to Keynes for speculative purpose. That means after lowering the rate of interest also, people are saving the money, and if that money is being saved, that is known as liquidity trap. That Keynes called it liquidity trap, and that liquidity trap is the main cause that money is not available in market anymore, and further production and employment is in danger because of this liquidity trap. Let us understand this with an example. For example, you are about to invest some money in bank where you are getting about 10% of rate of interest. Suppose you are investing $1,000 and you are getting 10% of rate of interest in bank. That means you are getting $100. Okay, fine. Same time you have some bonds and you have purchased those bonds. I will tell you that bonds and rate of interest at bank are different things. Rate of interest fluctuates while bonds are being purchased at a particular rate, and that rate is fixed. For example, if you are purchasing bonds of 1000 rupees at 10% of rate of interest for a year, then after that year you will be getting $100 extra as the rate of interest, and that is fixed. It will not be lowered or raised. But it is not with the case of rate of interest. Rate of interest, maybe now it is 10%, later on it may be 8% or 7%. It is not guaranteed that it will be always the same. So people used to shift their interest according to their profits. So suppose if a person is investing $1,000 in bank, actually saving, he is getting rate of interest $100, that is 10% rate of interest. Same time he is going to invest in bonds also, but in bonds also he is getting 10%. Now here the balance is good, but when the rate of interest is lowered in bank, for example it is 8%, that means now you are getting only $80 for $1,000. That means you are getting only 8%. Then you will try to shift your interest toward bonds because they are still giving you 10%, and when people like you will start shifting towards bonds, the value of bond will increase, and so the demand of bond will also increase, and that demand will raise the price of bonds also. That means the bonds which are being bought at $1,000, now they will be available at $1,050 or $1,100. It will be taken by you till it reaches $1,250, because at $1,250 you are getting $100 in bank. You are getting $80 for 1000 and you are getting $100 for $1,250. You might be confusing in it. Actually, the bank who is giving you 8% of rate of interest, that means they are giving $80 for $1,000. So if you want $100, then you have to save or invest $1,250 in bank to get $100 at the rate of interest. So when you are investing $1,250, that is your limit to get $100 as the rate of interest. So in bonds also you will go up to the level where bonds are being priced lower than 1250, and if it is 1250, then both the things are equal. If you are getting bonds for 1100 rupee, $1100, you will try to purchase it because you are getting $100 at rate of interest while investing only 1100. In bank you have to invest $1,250, then you will get rate of interest, that is $100. So bonds are cheaper for you now, beneficial for you. So till you get 1250, you will shift your interest, you will keep your interest towards those bonds. But as soon as it reaches 1250, you will shift yourself to the rate of interest. And that is the main reason. That is the main reason why the money is being trapped. Because if you are lowering the rate of interest in banks, assuming that people will now try to invest money, no, they will keep the money in the form of bonds, and that is the known as liquidity trap, which Keynes talked about. Money is being trapping and trapping and trapping, and the market is still vacant with money, and production and employment are suffering. Okay, let us understand this within a diagram. Suppose this is a diagram. Vertical line represents the rate of interest, and horizontal savings and investment, with graph of saving is this green line and this red line representing the investment. And you can see as such, E is the equilibrium point, a point of investment and saving which is being equal at the point E. Means at this rate of interest you are getting full employment. Okay, now suppose rate of interest is R1 and which is lower also. Government has lowered, I have as such I have told you in the last example about, suppose it is lowered from 10 to 8% and this R1 is 8%. At this time also, when it is cutting these lines, you can see here S1 and this is I1. You can see the gap between I1 and S1. That means investment is still less and saving is more, because people are in fear of speculation, and because of this gap is known as the liquidity trap. Okay, so government has done one thing. They said that if we'll reach this point, E point, here the full employment can be achieved and people will not be keeping those money with them, they will be investing. Okay, at R they have lowered the rate of interest from 8 to suppose 5 or 6%, but still people are at the speculative side only. They are having the fear of future, and because of that they will decrease the investment graph. The graph will now be shifted towards more left. That means now there is a big gap between savings and this investment. Now this investment L1 I have named it, and new equilibrium is this point where R dash is negative. Means it could be possible when government is giving negative rate of interest that people are investing. That can be a situation. And if it is lowered to 0 also, at that time also people are willing to save and not to invest much. That is the situation. People are so much cautious about saving. Even if the rate of interest being lowered, it may possible that at negative rate of interest people are not saving and they are investing the whole money they are getting. That may be a situation of full employment. And in developed countries, this is the situation where the rate of interest is negative. If you want to keep your money in bank, then you have to give some money to bank as a rate of interest, that is the negative rate of interest. But in developing and developed countries, this is not possible, because people when keep money in banks being used by the government for the further development, and that is the main reason that rate of interest is being kept high in developed, underdeveloped and developing countries. But in developed countries this is not the situation, so they keep rate of interest negative and they reaches the full employment position also.